Hi guys, I'm hoping that this is working because it wasn't working just a second ago. I'm going to bring it up on my iPad to see. It was disconnecting from my live, so I'm not too sure what was going on there. Let's just zoom in a little bit. So this is the first time I am doing a YouTube live, so it's all a bit nerve-wracking because I haven't done it before. But I thought, oh, you know, there's a first time for everything. I'm just going to get a new piece of grid paper. I'm hoping you can all see me. I didn't even really read up on how to do this before I went live. I thought, you know, I'll just wing it. So if you haven't been to my channel before, welcome. I usually do Facebook Live videos, and I thought I might try something different and do a bit of YouTube Live for once. So I'm just going to share this over to my Facebook page because I didn't let anyone know that I was going live. I'm not sure how to. Oh, goodness me. Discard. Nope. Share. Copy. Kayla's learning things on the fly. So I hope you're all having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. So I'm in Tasmania, Australia, and I am safe away from the fires because I know I've had a lot of people ask me that. So I'm well and truly well away from fires. I'm down the island at the bottom of Australia where it's usually pretty cold down here. So yeah, just type this, publish. Oh no, keep that. Typing one-handed very badly. Let's hope it's all still good to go. What I haven't worked out is how to look at the live chat. Oh. Comments are turned off. That's a bit silly. I don't know what's going on. Live chat. Comments. Okay. I'm going to keep going anyway because it's totally okay. You can chat to me, leave a comment at the end if you want, and then I'm going to have to work out that live comment business a bit after. I can't see an option for allowing comments. Really weird. I'm so used to Facebook Live. So I'm going to make this card with you all today, and it's using one of my absolute favourite sets from Celebration. So for those that are on and following, I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Tasmania, Australia, and I love making cards, I love crafting, I love scrapbooking, I love it all. And I thought when I saw this set in our gorgeous Celebration catalogue, which by the way in the video description you will see a link to request a catalogue if you don't have one. So this is our Celebration catalogue, and we have also got our new mini catalogue, which is this beautiful catalogue here. So you can, if you live in Australia and don't have a demonstrator already, you can request that from me, and I'll pop those in the mail for you for free. For shopping, you know, it's my shop, so you'll want a catalogue to browse and search. I'm just going to see if I can quickly go to okay, no, that's not gonna let me do it really quickly, so I'm not going to do that right now. I was going to try and see if I could turn comments on, but it's not going to let me do that very quickly, so we won't be doing that. So yes, do request a catalogue from me because I'd love you to have one. They're amazing, and not only have they have the products that we sell, but they've got lots and lots of ideas, so it's an amazing resource to have. So what I'm using today is actually from the Celebration catalogue, and a lot of people go, what is Celebration? What's it all about? Well, once a year, for 3 months, every year, we have a sale called Celebration, and it's basically a big party. It's amazing. It's the best sale of the year. So here in Australia, if you spend $90 with me, for every $90 you spend, you can choose a free product. Now we have 2 levels of products, which was bought in a couple of years ago, I think. So for every $90 you can choose a level 1 product, which is the ones with the purple circle. If you spend $180, you can get 2 level 1 products of any choice, or you can choose a level 2 product, which is the ones with the red circles, and they're a bit more, they're worth a bit more, so that's why they're $180 spend. So today we're actually using a level 2 product. So this is free with a $180 spend, and it's called the Power of Hope bundle. And that is this gorgeous one here. So it's a beautiful geisha and some beautiful like Asian inspired images. It's so stunning. And for those that don't know, Memoirs of a Geisha is actually my favourite movie, and so I fell in love with this set straight away. And it also comes as a bundle with an embossing folder with a stone effect. It's really, really pretty. And I was so excited to be able to use this today. I haven't had a chance until now to actually get on and use it. So I'm excited to be doing that with you live. So I actually went, why I chose to do this today is because I fell in love with the card in the catalogue, which is what I was saying about, oh goodness. Okay, sorry, something popped up. This is why I chose to do it, because I fell in love with the card in the catalogue and really wanted to replicate that. And then I thought, you know what, it's actually a bit more of a somewhat complicated card to make, or may seem that way. So I thought, you know what, I'll come on and I will show you how I made it. Just so you know as well, because I know that I look at cards sometimes and I go, gosh, how did they make that, and wish I could just watch it. So today we are going to make that, and then stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you something exciting I have coming up in my business. So to start off, we need a card base, and for that I'm using Early Espresso, which is a colour that I actually don't use too often. So I was excited to get that out and have a play. So this is just half a sheet of an A4 cardstock to your standard card base, so whatever that is, wherever you are. And then I'm scoring in half, which for us in Australia is 10.5. Now I tend to use my bone folder, but you can also use the scoring blade on this awesome new trimmer. So I'm just going to fold that in half and put that to the side. Then I want a piece of crumb cake, and I'm actually going to cut this to, now I have to remember this right, I want to cut this to 10.1, I think it is, and then to 14.6. Hope I got that size right. Probably should have worked out my sizes before I did that, but you know, it's all about going with the flow. Then I want to cut a piece of Whisper White, and I'm using thick. I always pretty much do use thick. I love my Whisper White thick. And then I'm going to cut this to 10 centimeters by 14.4. And I'll just make sure that's right by putting these together. And it's just a tiny, tiny border. So yep, that's all good. Now what we want to do is take a piece of, and this is really important bit I think, because we are going to be using a lot of water. So I want to take a bit of this Fluid 100 watercolor paper. This is our new watercolor paper and I just love it. I think it's great. You can buy all these products that I'm showing in my store, which is linked below. And if you buy all the other products I've used on the card, you probably be entitled to get the bundle for free, so that's really cool. So I'm going to cut the piece of watercolor paper slightly smaller than our Whisper White that we cut. So we cut that at 10, so I'm going to go probably to 9.5 by 14, and that should be all good. Oh, I've got the sniffles today. So that's our bit of watercolor card. Now while we're cutting, so we don't have to get the trimmer back out, I might just cut an insert for the inside of the card as well. I do have a bit of a scrap here. So for this I'm going to go and cut one at 10. I always do 2 layers on my inside. Some people do 1, but That's completely up to you. Now I'm going to cut this at 14.4, and then I want to cut a piece of Whisper White as well. So I'm going to cut this to, what have we got? We want 14.2, I think. We'll soon find out. Doing measurements with you live and winging it, to 9.8. And let's just see if that looks all good. Oh, look at that. Pretty good. So they're all our pieces that we need. Now, what I'm going to do next is bring in the big shot, because we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. Not much, so don't worry. I'm going to use the stitch nested labels, and I get a lot of questions about how I store my die cuts now. This was a tip I learnt off Linda Gator, who linked me to a couple of demos that do it. I can't remember who the names are. But these pockets are Totally Tiffany 5x7 stamp pockets or something, I think they're called. You can buy them in Australia at Crafty online, or you can buy them directly from Totally Tiffany. But the postage is more expensive, so it's more ideal if you live in the US to shop from there. But here in Australia, we can get them from Crafty online. The magnets, I buy in A4 magnet sheets. They're self-adhesive, but I don't use the adhesive part. And you can buy those on eBay. As with the 5x7 backing board, if you type that into eBay, you can get those as well. And that the backing board's to stop them all sticking together if you just have magnets in there. So I'm going to use the largest stitch nested label, and I'm going to grab my die cut machine, and hopefully this will all be in view. Now with your pieces, the piece that I want to die cut is not the pieces for the inside, we'll set those aside, but our white piece. So not the watercolor piece, but the white piece. Now I'm just going to wind this through. Now I want to put this fairly center. So we'll just sort of line it up where we think. That looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to pop that down and wind that through. Then we'll pop that out. That bit you can keep for another card later on, because we're not going to use that piece. But what we are going to do is we're actually going to emboss this piece. And I've put the embossing folder somewhere. Oh, there it is. Now this is one of our new embossing folders. So what we're going to do is, I always forget the standard for this one, but I'm pretty sure it's, I think it's this way. So we keep one of our cutting plates down, I think. And then we're going to pop it into our embossing folder. Now, if you didn't know, because I didn't know this nifty nifty tip, is this black line here is actually to help you line up your cardstock if you want it embossed straight. Some embossing folders it doesn't matter so much with, but some it does. But I'm just going to go that way. And I'm going to try and run this through and make sure it's the right... No, it's not. Okay. So, no cutting mats. So just your standard cutting base, but you take off your thin die adapter. So then you want to put this blue, and this one's called the embossing big shot plate or something like that. And then you just want to run this through. I like to run my embossing folders through twice just to get a nice impression. And then I'll pop this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. So then we'll pull this out of the embossing folder, and then you get this beautiful embossed image. It's just stunning, and it's like stone. You could rub ink over this, it would look amazing. The sample in the catalogue actually shows a really cool one with that, where they've embossed over the top with gold. Really cool, and I think I will definitely be casing that one. So I will, oh, goodness. Okay. Not the iPad is doing funny things, so I hope I'm still live. We'll soon find out. Okay, so now we've done that bit. What we want to do is work on our watercolor panel. So I'll pop this here so you can see. So this bit I was a little bit confused about, I will admit. So this is why I wanted to come on live and show you what I had done. So in the sample, I'll just show you using my card. They had done some mountains in the background, and that's using another stamp set that I'll show you in just a second. But I was wondering how they did that while getting this little image. I don't know what these are called. They've got a name, but those little Asian Japanesey hut things. And I wanted to stamp that over the top, but didn't want the mountains to colour it in because I wanted to go and then add the brown. So I've actually done some masking. Now, this is something I wanted to show because this is what I'm going to use. And you can get this sticky post-it note from Officeworks. It's called a sticky post-it roll. And the reason I'm using this is because when you're using like post-it tape to mask, you kind of want it to be sticky all over. It's not too sticky, but sticky enough. Now, I'm thinking it'll be wide enough because I did use a normal post-it note when I did this last night, but then thought that I've got this stuff, I should use it. So hopefully it's wide enough. Yep, it will be. So I'm just going to stamp that with Memento Black because I don't really need to use Stays On ink for this one. I'm just going to ink that up and then we just want to stamp that down. Now, what we're going to do is I will do this as quickly as I can so I don't bore you all. You don't have to be too precise, but I just want to cut this out. Now, when I'm doing a masking image, this is the same kind of thing for what you need to do if you're going to stamp those meerkats and stamp a whole big crowd of them. But you want to stamp and cut slightly inside that black line or as close to it as you can, because you don't want the images around it to only stamp around the image and leave too much of a gap. It's okay if it has a little bit of a gap, but you don't want too much of a gap. So I'm just going to go in, stamp and cut all around. It's not too much of a hard image to cut at all. The meerkats are harder, trust me. I did like 5 of those because you need a few of those masks if you're going to do big groups of them. So the meerkats is another one of our free stamp sets that you can earn with every $90 spend. So you'll have to check out my shop link in the description because there's so many products you can earn for free. And trust me, it's not hard to earn products for free with so many gorgeous products out of the new mini catalogue. There's just products galore and I'm in love. Now, I know you've probably heard lots of people say this, but it is actually my favourite Stampin' Up! Catalogue so far. And I've been a demo for 3 or 4 years, something like that. So I've seen a few catalogues and yeah, definitely my favourite one. I just love it. So now I've cut the outside of that image, but I'm actually going to go in and also, actually for this one I might show you not doing that because I'm going to go in and I'll just add that colour because I did wonder that when I was doing it last night. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to stick that roughly where we want that to be on our image, and we're just going to stick it over the top like that. Now, we're going to use the Mountain Air stamp set. This is one of our new style stamp sets that are very new to Stampin' Up, and they're called a reversible stamp set. So they're really, really cool in the sense that the stamps actually stamp. I'll show you with an actual stamp, that might be easier. So this mountain that we are going to use actually can be stamped both sides. We're going to stamp the solid side, which means that we have the detail of the stamp, which you'll be able to see and feel, is actually facing down to the block because we don't want the detailed mountains, we just want the solid image. But you could stamp, if you were doing a different kind of card with this, stamp the solid image, clean it, flip it over, and then go back in and add your mountain detail. So there's lots of options with these. They're really, really cool. We actually have one in Celebration, a reversible stamp set that you can earn for free. And that one, if I can grab it quickly, yep, is called the Lovely Lily Pad. So this is also free with a $90 order. Would even look gorgeous combined with the geisha, to be honest. So these are relatively new. We have a few sets that have featured the reversibles and they are really super fun and cool. So what we're going to do is add our mountains, and we're going to use Gorgeous Grape ink for this. So I'm just going to grab some and I want to pop it, making sure I have the solid side back up. I just want to go and add a fair bit of that Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to pop the solid Gorgeous Grape to the bottom of the little hut. I'm going to call it a hut because I'm confused about what it's called. Now, as you can see, we're stamping on watercolour. Now, it's not going to stamp perfectly because it has to get into all those like deep crevices of the watercolour paper. So I actually stamped over it a few times, and you'll see why in a minute. Because we are going to watercolour over the top. So that should be fine. Then we're going to go in and actually stamp this off. So take that off, and then we're going to move the mountains because we don't want them in exactly the same position. And we're going to stamp again over the top. Now I'm just going to leave that there for a few seconds for the ink to seep in before we go and add our watercolour. Like that. Now that looks like you're thinking, what on the earth? That looks so silly, but I shall show you. So we can, I might actually leave that on for a second. Now I'm going to go in and add the watercolour. So the stamps actually are sort of just providing you the basis for your mountain, and then you're going to go in and then use that to know where to watercolour your mountains. So it totally doesn't matter that they don't stamp perfectly or whatever. I've got fake nails on, so it makes it hard to lift things up. I'm just gonna lift my mask up so that we know where we want that. Now that's what I'm going to do with that. I'm just going to go in and add a little of the watercolour to our lighter bit. We're going to come in and add some more watercolour very soon, but I just want to do this while the ink is still fresh because I don't want the ink to dry on me. Now I'm not even pressing the barrel of this aqua painter. I am just simply running it along where my mountains were stamped. You can see now that there's a spot there for our hut. Now don't worry, because this is also going to be, you're going to be thinking, what on the earth? I'm just going to clean off the memento from my stamp that I used for our mask. Now the important step here, I'm just going to run, I have got stubbies to my desk, it's crazy. I'm just going to quickly buzz the heat gun over this, just to make sure it's not super wet around where we're going to be stamping. That should be right. Okay, so now what a really important step here is to use stays on ink because we're adding a lot of water. So if you use memento, which is actually what I did on my original, just don't look too close, because I actually forgot. I'm used to using memento for blends, but you actually want to use stays on. I don't know if I inked that up too much, but we'll find out. So then you want to approximately place it. So just sort of use the cardstock as a guide and just put it where you think. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, okay? We're going to lift that up, and then you see we've got our gorgeous hut and the mountains aren't stamped in the way. So that is how I actually achieved that look. Now what we can do is go back in with our, so push your stamp pad together so you've got some ink on there. Now we're going to go in and add the dark purple where that darker purple mountain will be in between here, because this hut is see-through, so you'll be able to see behind. So we want to add our dark purple in here. So it just looks like the stamp has continuously gone through. So these are kind of like the cheat tip ways of doing this. And I'm just going to do that one too. And then you can bring your purple right to the edges of your hut where they haven't quite, where the stamp hasn't met. Now this one up here is also see-through, but it's the lighter purple. So just simply use your lighter purple here. And then I think, I don't remember where the purples were, just in here a little bit. And then we've got some here where it didn't quite stamp to the edge, so we'll just add our purple in. And then you can just simply wash it out. I came home last night, I was at my parents' for dinner, and I came home and my partner was still up watching TV, which is unusual. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and make a card. And so I chose this card that I wanted to case out of the catalogue and went for it and thought, oh, this is fun. I love this card. So now we're going to add some more watercolour, and we're going to use Early Espresso. Don't mind my ink pad, it's had a hard life. So I've already got some in the lid there. Now I added a mixture of soft suede and Early Espresso. So I'm just going to pop those that way. My Early Espresso I have added towards the top here. Now what I'm going to do is actually, oh, there's some red there. I'm just, watercolour's forgiving, it's all right. I'm just going to add some water, and that's going to help make our colours sort of run together. Now I'm just going to go and add some Early Espresso, and then I'm going to go back in with my soft suede and kind of go around. So you just want to kind of add the colour all over. Then I'm going to go back in and add some darker bits, and I want the darker bits to sort of be right where that hut is, and then go and add some more darker bits in other places, and just let that kind of, maybe you can use a mixture of your two colours to add some Early Espresso in. Watercolour is all about experimenting and having a bit of fun, I think. There's no right or wrong or rules really. So we're just going to pop those to the side. We will need them again in a second. And now I'm going to add my sky. So I'm just going to clean off my brush. And then we're going to use Rococo Rose, which is a gorgeous colour that I do not use enough. Now I want this to be pretty light. Actually, I think I learnt this last night. You do have to go in with this one and add the water, because you want this colour to go on pretty lightly, because it's just a light pink sky. So we're just going to go and spread that on. When you've already added the water first, it really does spread very easily. So it's really super fun and super quick. You get a sky in minutes. It's okay if some of your colours run a little bit. Totally fine. I think it adds to the magic of watercolour really. I don't think things are supposed to be perfect. In fact, I quite like the imperfect look. Now I'm just going to come back in with a few darker bits. Just a touch, and add a few darker bits here and there, because I think it adds to the look of having some that are not so perfect. And we're going to come back in here and add a sun in a second. Okay, so there's our Rococo Rose sky. Now we're going to colour our little hut. And we're going to colour that with the gorgeous soft suede. So I don't need to wet the hut first. I'm just going to go in and very lightly add some soft suede on there. So I always find with watercolour, oops, what I might do is, because that's still very wet, I might just quickly run the heat gun over just to dry off some of that colour, so that we can watercolour a bit more easily. So always keep your heat gun handy when you're watercolouring, because you may need to go in and dry it a few times when you're working between colours. It's quite handy. So I will have this card up on my blog. I am working all weekend, so I'm not sure if I'll get to it this weekend or not, but I will give it a go. And I'll have all the supplies listed and linked. But when the video's over, in the video description, I will have all the products in the linked for you to find in my store, so that you can find them really easily. Now, this did run out of lines a little bit, so what I'm going to do, just to rectify that issue, is go in with a little bit of the Rococo Rose, just to go over where that did run a little bit. Oh, the dogs are barking. I wonder what's going on out there. Not my dogs, by the way. I don't have dogs. Right. So now I can go in with my soft suede, and it won't, well, shouldn't run, because we've dried off that area a little bit, so it'll be much more effective. So these are kind of like some sails. They're really pretty. So I'm just going to add in our colour. I like to give it a good wash first, so not worry too much about the shading. And then I'll go back in with my darker and kind of add that in over the top. Oh, it's just that one corner that wants to play with me there. I need a tissue. Tissues are really, tissue or paper towels really good to have on hand for this kind of thing. Okay. So kind of know where the darker bits will be, because that's where on the stamp you'll naturally see the shading is already there. I'm just going to go in and add the brown. Now I've just seen a little bit of the purple that I missed, so I'll just grab some purple from over here and just add that in. Right. So, as I said, this card probably looks more complicated than what it is. It's just all about sitting down, having some fun with watercolor, a bit of experiment and playing. So when you're happy with all the colours, just go in and give it a good go over with the heat gun. We do have one more step to add a beautiful sun image to this. Okay, so now this little sun image or moon or whatever it is from the Mountain Air set as well, and we are going to use the solid side of this one as well, so not the detail. And the colour we're going to use is a colour that I actually stated I don't like to my friend the other day. So if she watches this video, she'll have a giggle because I am using terracotta tile. And it's not my go-to colour. It's just, you know, we all have colours that we struggle with, and this is mine. So I am using it though, and it does look good on this card. So I'm just going to stamp that to the right of the hut. And as I did with the mountains, I'm just going to go and stamp that a few times just to get that colour really on there deep. So I've stamped that 3 or 4 times, and then I'm going to go in with my aqua painter again and just add, I don't want to add too much water, but I want to add enough that the colour kind of spreads and looks like it's watercoloured, not stamped. So we've got that on there now, looking beautiful. Then we'll hit that with the heat gun. So if you are enjoying watching this video, maybe you're watching the replay, in the video description below I will have a link to my Facebook page where I regularly do lives. I'm going to try and mix it up a little bit and do a mixture of Facebook Lives and YouTube Lives. It's one of my goals this year. So you will be able to see a bit more of me on YouTube. But you definitely go check out my Facebook page because I do lives there more, like pretty regularly. Now I've just got a lot of Winkestella on there. But that's okay because everyone loves a bit of glitter. So I'm just adding some Winkestella glitter to my image, and then I'm just going to sprinkle some because I love glimmer, glitz and shine. So I'm just sprinkled that over the top of a watercolour image. Now the next step we're going to do is simply apply our stone embossed piece that we've big shot cut out over the top of our watercolour piece. And this is why you cut your watercolour piece a little bit smaller, because you don't want those edges showing. So I've used I wouldn't suggest using black because it's on the white. So I'm just going to grab some white dimensionals. I've been loving these black dimensionals, so I have them out all the time. There, just found a sheet of white. So I'm just going to apply 2 to the corners, and then I will add 2 to the sides. Oops. Because you don't want it to sag. So it does look like a lot of dimensionals, but you don't want it to go saggy and look like it's not very sturdy. I love my dimensionals. I couldn't be without them. So I'll just take these backings off. Sorry, this is probably the boring bit. Okay, all those backings are off now, and we can stick our piece down. Just making sure we're getting that where we want it to sit. And then from there, we're going to take our piece of crumb cake that we've cut out, and we're going to just use some liquid glue onto the back of this and adhere that down to our crumb cake piece. Now it's got a very small border, so you might just need to wriggle and move it a little bit, which is why I love using liquid glue, because you've got that time. And then we can stick that to our early espresso card base. I love my liquid glue. I use liquid glue all the time. So we just want to stick that one down. There we go. Now we've got a little bit more stamping to do, but not much. We're almost there. So we're going to use a sentiment from the stamp set, which I have used today, is a day for new beginnings. I thought that was so cute. So I'll just mount that on a block, and we're going to stamp that with some early espresso. Actually, we might go Memento Black, and we'll go onto the crumb cake cardstock, which I've just grabbed a scrap, so it doesn't matter too much. And I'm just going to stamp that there. Well, that didn't stamp quite like I wanted. Almost, but not quite. Almost, but no cigar. Okay, I'll let that sit for a second. There we go, that's better. Okay, now I'm going to bring in something I love talking about at the moment, and that is the mini trimmer. Do you know, if you aren't a Stampin' Up, if you aren't part of the Stampin' Up family, you can get this free at the moment. All you have to do is join my team if you're not already on a team with Stampin' Up and you live in Australia, or you can join someone, if you're not from Australia, you can join one of your local Stampin' Up demonstrators teams. And you can choose this for free in your starter kit with a packet of, a mixed pack of 6x6 papers with all our new papers in it for free as well. And you get to choose 235, in Australia that is, of product, and a free stamp set of your choice. And it's only $169. Like, it's crazy. You're getting so much free. It would be silly not to do it. And you can still get the celebration freebies. You don't miss out. And that's on a $90 order still, but $90 doesn't cost you $90 because you get a 20% discount. So you definitely want to join my team at the moment. It's an amazing, amazing time to join. But I think any time's an amazing time to join Stampin' Up. But definitely don't miss that offer. Now, what I'm going to do now is, before we finish stamping, is I'm going to take the bits that we cut for our card insert. And I want the white piece specifically, because I'm going to stamp this little lantern. I thought it was so cute and appropriate, and I just want to make that there. Now, the important thing is to stamp this one with Stays On, because we're going to quickly watercolour this. So, and this doesn't take long at all. I think I pressed too hard on my Stays On. Let's just see. That's better. So I'm just going to stamp 3 of them, and just carefully. That one isn't quite as dark. I might actually turn that over and we'll do that again. Okay. One here, one there, and maybe one here. That's better. Okay, so we'll let that dry for just a ticky, and I'm just going to get lots of stays on. This is our Stampin' Chamois. It's an amazing thing to have at your craft desk. Get all that ink off. I like to clean my stamps pretty much soon after they're done. But those ones will need stays on cleaner, which I will do in a tick. So while we're waiting, just giving that a second to dry, I am just going to flag this a little bit. So I'm just going to cut a little flag out of that and stick that there for a second. See? And then, oh goodness, I had linen thread under my camera. Then we're going to take some linen thread and I'm just going to double it over and cut. And then what I like to do is just run my fingers along it a bit to straighten it out. But before we tie a bow, I'm going to take my bird trinkets. So these are from the annual catalogue. And I really liked this little leaf here. I thought it was adorable. So I want to actually pop that into my bow. So I'm going to tie it into a bow. So I'll bring my two ends together and pop those through my opening of my little trinket. It's always easier tying bows when you're not live, I tell you. Yeah, I'll cut where those two ends meet because we can tie this into our bow now. We just want to make sure we're tying it in the middle because we want the ends to be even. So now I've tied that in a little knot, so now we can tie our bow. And I just really like the look of a double bow for this one. I love linen thread. Linen thread is like, I have got to have 10 rolls on the go at all times. If I have any less than 10 rolls, I go into a panic thinking I'm going to run out. So we all have our thing, and I love my linen thread. So I like to just fiddle around. The reason I love linen thread is because it's so easy to like move it and get a nice shaped bow. Like it sort of moves the way you want it to. And I really love that about it. So, and it adds a beautiful texture. Now you just want to trim your ends to where you want them. You can always trim these once they're on the card too. And then we're going to pop that on with a glue dot in just a second. So for this bit of the card, we're just going to add to the side here. You probably can't see, but I actually have some gorgeous grape on my block, which was there from when I stamped. I'm going to sneeze. Shoo! Shoo! I'm so sorry. So that's left over on the block, and I'm just going to use that while I'm colouring these lanterns. So I'm just going to add a wash over the top of my lantern and then add some darker to the left hand side. So add a wash and then add some darker to the left hand side. So now this is on Thick Whisper White, so it's not as, you can still add water to it, but it's not going to be as like forgiving as the watercolor paper. So just go easy on it. Now what I did here, because I thought those lanterns just look like they're floating, and I know they do have floating lanterns, but I thought I want them looking like they're hanging. So I've just used a fine felt tip liner, but you can use your basic black Stampin' Bright marker too. And I've just kind of made the lines go to the top of the cards that actually look like they're hanging. And I've not been perfect with this at all. So just want to kind of make it look like they were actually meant to be like that. So I'm just adding them in. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is add some Wink of Stella to my lanterns so they're nice and shiny. Now we can adhere this with some liquid glue to our piece of crumb cake which we've cut as our layer. I didn't add a sentiment to the inside of the card, but that's completely up to you. You can add one if you wish. Add some more glue, and then I'm just going to stick this one on the inside. Okay, Now we can adhere our bits and pieces. So we want to take some glue dots. So I've got some glue dots, which you can also purchase through my store. I love our glue dots. I'm going to stick that there, and then to adhere my sentiment, I've actually cut this end on a little bit of an angle. So I actually went in and cut it so it wasn't straight, because I actually want it to sit not straight on there. Now I want some Stampin' Dimensionals, which I'd moved to the other side of the desk. And then I'm going to stick this banner down. Now, you do actually want a stack of 2 dimensionals, 2 high, on the end bit, because it's going to sit into this bit, which is, this bit's already heightened. So you want 1 on that, but 2 on the other bit, like so. Now, what I did to finish this off was added some fun, and you don't have to add these, you might even like it without them, but I did go add some champagne rhinestones. I might actually keep this one without the rhinestones, and you'll have to let me know which one you prefer. So this one's got a few of the champagne rhinestones, this one has none. So that was the card. Now, I actually think it was a lot easier than what I thought it would be. So you'll have to let me know what you think, and let me know which one you prefer. And I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial on how to make that fun card, because I had a lot of fun and I really enjoyed sharing it with you. It's definitely going to be one of my absolute favourite stamp sets. So you want to get it now while you can get it for free, because who doesn't love a good freebie? The other thing is, if you check my blog at the moment, I have an online class which is open internationally. It's called the Timeless Tulips class, and this is the class kit for those that live in Australia and want one of the kits. You can grab a kit. I just photographed it, so it was all laying on my desk. So I thought I'll quickly bring it out and show you what, before I put all this away and do my live videos with it. That is the kit that you can get, and I do have all the supplies listed in the PDF. So if you don't live in Australia and still want to make them, you have a list of all the supplies I've used. In Australia, you can buy the Timeless Tulips bundle off me, and you will actually get this class kit, the PDF, and the videos for free. So that's this bundle here, and it's like $55, I think, and you get all this free. So it's a really good deal. Otherwise, you can just buy the class kit if you live in Australia and the PDF for $25, or if you live internationally, you can buy just the PDF and the videos for $15, and you'll get access to all of that. So these sign-ups are open till the 31st of January, so be sure to check out my blog for all that information. Here's just a little sneak peek of some of what we're making. I'll just quickly put it in view. So that's just a little sneak peek of some of what we'll be making. Really super fun, and I can't wait to have that class with you all. So thanks for watching today, guys, for my first YouTube live. It was a bit nerve-wracking because I'm used to the Facebook world, but I hope to see you a lot more and work out the comments, because I'd love to live chat with you, but I don't know how to do it. So it's all about learning. So thanks for watching today, guys. Bye.